Well, hello, one and all. Everybody, welcome to this Monday night live stream. We will see how many people actually make it here tonight. We got one watching so far. You're welcome to make a comment if you'd like. And if nobody shows up in the next few minutes here, I will actually understand. It's been quite a while since I've done any of these on a regular or a consistent basis. So we will see. We will see what happens here. We'll give it a few minutes. I didn't really necessarily have anything spectacular to talk about, but I'm open to any type of live discussion that anybody wants to hear or talk about. Again, we'll give it a few minutes here. Sometimes people jump on a little bit late. It is Monday, right? Last I checked, it's Monday. On a personal note, I'm in Tennessee for an extra day. Please pray for me. Please pray for the next couple days that they go well. And I am trying seriously hard not to drink tonight. I've been drinking a whole lot lately, and it is just so easy to turn to alcohol when you're feeling lonely or depressed or whatever. But trying hard not to turn to that in this time of difficulty for me. So anyway, well, I don't know, I mean, we can talk about what makes Gen X, and how we're separated from both the boomers and the millennials. I don't know exactly, what should I say? I don't know exactly all the details, but I mean, the generation that came before us were boomers, about from 1964 to 1979, 1980 are Gen Xers, and then 1981, 1984 are millennials. If you were born in 84, post 84, you're definitely not a Gen Xer. But that doesn't stop you or preclude you from liking all things Generation X. We actually had a pretty decent show to the last live stream I did about Kurt Cobain and him being gone for 30 years. It's amazing like how fast time goes. It's just like blink of an eye it goes. So I'll give it a couple more minutes. If nobody else jumps on, I'm going to close it up and say good night. And we will just leave it at that. But I liked growing up Generation X. I like millennials as well, for the most part. There's a lot of millennial things that I really feel like millennials still kind of grew up. If you were an early millennial, you kind of grew up in an era without the internet and without the modern explosion of technology. But I mean, if you're born in 84, you really kind of, by the time you came of age, you really grew up around technology. By the time you're 12 years old, the internet is a thing. And but I went from a generation that went from analog to digital. So that's what it is. I mean, I remember growing up and it was like stay out as late as you want. Really not a lot of worry about, I don't know, anything. You could leave your keys in your car. It was a great time to be alive. I'm early to early Gen Xer myself. So I had a lot of years without the digital age. I was stuck with tapes for a long time, for example. I mean, tapes were just the thing. And then I remember making the shift to CDs. And by the time I got to CDs, people were already doing the MP3 downloads. I remember it being difficult to find a car that had a tape player in it because I had so many tapes, and it was difficult to find a car that had tapes because I had tapes galore. I still do. I have a whole ton of collection of tapes. I'll be moving back to Utah in a couple days. My time here in Tennessee is coming to a close at this point, at least for this round. I've moved back and forth from Utah to Tennessee 3 different times, and this is my third time. And so my heart is here in Tennessee, and I really like it here in Tennessee. But it isn't for me right now. I have to go back to Utah, kind of regroup. I need a place of space and safety and peace and all that stuff. And then I've made so many good friends here. It's going to be difficult to leave Utah for Tennessee, or leave Tennessee for Utah again. And not that I don't have good friends in Utah. I mean, I really super do. That's my big drawback to come to Utah, other than just feeling like I need to. But like I'm homesick to a degree. I mean, everybody's there. My family's there. My dog's there. I have really close friends who are there that I haven't seen for a long time. And I'm like, just come to Tennessee. Everybody just come with me, pick up root what you're doing and come on out here. Anyway, I will, let's see, we're at 7 minutes. I might give it one more minute. If I don't get any comments or anything like that, I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down. We will see how it goes. So anyway, I don't really have much to, bloviate about as far as talking about Gen X or anything like that. So we'll see. All right. We got one comment here. That's good enough for me. Sean Innes says, "Hey, Ian, how are you, buddy?" I'm fair. I'm fair. Just say I'm fair. I have a lot of things to be grateful for, and I have a lot of things to be heartbroken about. So I'm all right. But thank you for asking. How are you doing? Sean Innes writes, "I don't know if you've been watching Thrash's stream, but you are very much missed." Oh, thank you. I step into Thrash's now and again. And so that's what I'm back here today. I didn't give much. Like I said, I only gave like an hour and a half notice that I'm going to be here. So we'll see how it goes. And it says, "I have my own issues." Well, I'm sorry. I know that we all have our own issues. It's kind of interesting that we live in our own skin, so we can only think about the things that we go through, personally, on a personal basis. So thank you, Sean, for that. And you are in my prayers, buddy. And yeah, I've stepped into Thrash's show or a couple of times here and there, but let's see. Sean Ennis writes, "Mixed bag, not fun, but this is your channel." No, I didn't really intend to kind of talk about anything real personal or not fun. I apologize for that. It was just like I'm here and not a lot of people are showing up for the live stream, and so I just started just talking. So I don't know. It wasn't really a conscious decision. It was just like, let's fill time until maybe some people show up with the show. So we'll see how it goes. We'll get more people going here in a minute. Thank you very much. But anyway, all right. 10 minutes, 3 people, and 1 more minute, and then we'll just call it good. We'll call it good. I kind of wanted to get back to these live streams on a more regular basis anyway, and start doing videos for the channel on a more regular basis. Cindy D says, "Hello, been missing you, ENC." Well, thank you very much, Cindy. Yeah, I want to get back to doing this more on a regular basis. I did one just recently on the death of Kurt Cobain. As I said there's a few things that'll kind of get me out of retirement. And one was uh, uh, one was Matthew Perry's death. I should have said something about Matthew Perry's death, but I just really wasn't in a good place at the time to do that, so I left that one alone. And the and then Paul Rubin's death as well. But again, I just wasn't in a great place to do that. So when Kurt, when it was coming up 30 years of Kurt Cobain's death, I'm kind of more in an emotionally stable place to be able to say something now. So are you back in Utah for the time being? I'm not back in Utah yet. I don't leave for another couple days, but I am going back in. I'm going back there very soon. All right. Anybody have any questions for me or anything they would want to talk about? Cindy Directs, I missed the Three Musketeers, you, Thrash, and Dave. You guys got me through COVID. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Something had to get us through COVID, right? That was a really tough time for everybody. Yeah, I haven't heard much from Dave. I've seen a couple of videos, but on a personal note, I haven't really heard from Dave in a while. I've actually interacted more with Thrash in the last year and a half than I have with Dave. I've been meaning to reach out to him and see how he's doing. So we'll see here. All right, Terrell is here. Hello, Ian. Happy solar eclipse day. Happy solar eclipse day to you, Terrell. I can see that we're all still here. We're all still safe. I think it's interesting that we get a solar eclipse somewhere in the world about every 18 months, but it only matters when it happens over America, right? It means something when it happens over America. Everybody gets kind of a little bit loony out there, especially if you're involved in the Christian world or anything. It just like everybody just goes nuts. I just sit back and watch. I'm like, I survived the last one. I think I'll survive the last few. I think I'll survive this one. We'll see. We'll see. You got any questions, Terrell? You always come up with great questions and good topics to keep us going. Total eclipse of the heart. Yeah, right on. Who was that? Bonnie Raitt or something like that? Can't remember her name exactly. It'll be nice to be back in my studio, though. It'll be nice to be back in my home studio and have all that happening, have all the cool stuff behind me there. So Sean writes, I was listening to my playlist and the song by Killing Joke came on, Living in the 80s. I started to think about the song about decades. It kind of fit with the title of the live stream. Yeah. And I think is that the one Killing Joke that Nirvana ripped off, basically. I mean, I don't think he did it intentionally. I don't think he did it intentionally, but I think it sounds a lot like it was either that or the Butthole Surfers, and it sounds a lot like "Come as You Are," basically. And I don't know if they got sued over that or not, but I know that "Come as You Are" sounds a lot like Killing Joke song. So I'm not sure. Bonnie Tyler. Meatloaf's handlers turned the song down. Oh, really? Wow. I'm glad they did because I couldn't imagine Meatloaf singing that song. Wasn't really a huge Meatloaf guy. I respected him, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, Meatloaf. I got to listen to Meatloaf. I think I probably heard his album Bad Out of Hell like maybe a total of one time. And other than the songs that were popular, just didn't really listen to it other than what kind of came on the radio from now and again. And then like 20 years later, he releases Bad Out of Hell 2 or whatever. So it was just like, okay, Bad Out of Hell 2 had that I Would Do Anything for Love. I think that was a radio classic hit, but didn't really do much for me. I was wondering, didn't Living Color replace the Tracy Ullman show on the Fox lineup when the former premiered in April 1990, while the latter aired in the final episode a month later? Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like it would. It seems like it would be that. It seems like it would that it would have replaced it in Living Color, replaced the Tracy Ullman show. But I don't have the dates in my head as far as when one came in and when the other left. I definitely was a big fan of both shows. So I mean, when Tracy Ullman show came out, I was a huge fan of that. But I don't know which I like better, Tracy Ullman or In Living Color. That would be a tough call to make. A really tough call to make, whether or not Tracy Ullman was better or In Living Color. I don't know. I mean, Tracy Ullman gave us The Simpsons, so I don't know. But In Living Color gave us Jim Carrey. So whatever happens, his songs were operatic. Yeah, I know they were operatic, which didn't bug me. So was another operatic band out there was was the people who did Operation Mindcrime, Queensryche, and I loved Queensryche. I mean, back in the day, I thought Jeff Tate was the ultimate singer. Let's see. I personally hate Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. It's a long song that people seem to think is appropriate at weddings. It's well, I'm going to try to read that works to me, something to me. We all have our own pet peeves. Yeah. Excruciating. It is excruciating to me. We all have our own pet peeves, right? This is why I need Thrashshare to read comments, because I am not a good reader, as I've said in the past. So it's excruciating. Yeah. I can see that. I can see why people wouldn't like it. I don't like opera. I mean, I'll tell you that. But like when you get like an operatic singer who sings rock music, then I kind of like that. I just really didn't think Meatloaf's songs were that solid. I mean, I know that people are going to be upset with me saying something like that, but quite honestly, they just weren't catchy enough for me. They didn't pique my interest. Tracy's music career would have bigger in the States. Definitely loved In Living Color better. Okay, yeah. I know Tracy Ullman did music as well, but I know Tracy Ullman did music as well. But I know that it's nothing I would be too familiar with, and that's interesting. In Living Color, I don't know. I might have to agree with you on that. Overall, I think In Living Color was maybe perhaps a funnier show, had a better, more diverse cast, so to speak. I don't hate Meatloaf though. Well, I don't hate Meatloaf, but it's just nothing I would go out of my way to listen to. You know what I mean? Like it's just like if it's on, great, but if it isn't on, then it's just something I wouldn't miss, and would highly prefer something else. It's not one of those. He's not one of those artists that I would say that I would say is excruciating for me. It's just somebody I just don't care to listen to. I know, but I mean, who am I? It's just, again, like you said, it's like we kind of all have our own opinions about it. Cindy D writes, Miss You Five Things You Didn't Know series. You should do one on Matthew Perry. That's a great idea. That is a really good idea. If I get back and I have time, I will definitely um, put that at the top of the list as far as of things you didn't know. Five things you didn't know. Um, they don't know. They don't know was her biggest hit. They never heard of love. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Tracy Zolman, I think, only had one middling hit. I think he's supposed to be Tracy Ullman. Um, that was bigger in the UK over the US. Would definitely recognize it. Okay. Oh, yeah. You said, oops, Ullman. Right. Teb writes, I remember when Mad TV came out, I thought it was going to be the show to help blow SNL straight out of the water. This was around when SNL was going through changes after the 20th season didn't do well. Yeah, Mad TV came in at a time when SNL was really at a low point, and and I definitely loved Mad TV. I probably liked Mad TV second to SNL overall, and probably liked Mad TV better than I liked either In Living Color or the Tracy Ullman Show. I just think that Mad TV was a little bit more cutting edge, a little bit more. Um, like when you have something, then you have a parody of that something. There's like a gap between it, and I think In Living Color the gap is a little bit too wide, if that makes sense. And where Mad TV really really kind of parodied the people it was parodying. So anyway, I think Mad TV definitely had better writing. I don't know necessarily about better actors, but certainly better writings and better scripts, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. Yes, Sean. Wait. Oh, can't beat, can't bet the not ready for prime time players. Can't beat early SNL. Yeah, it depends on early SNL. One of the things that I've said about SNL is really reflective of when you grew up. Like if you grew up when it first came out, then that was the best. It kind of is. It was almost like when you turn 12, 13, 14, and you're allowed to kind of stay up late on weekends, maybe hang out over at a friend's house or something like that, and you watch Saturday Night Live, and that seems to be what impresses on people. And so for me, I had an early adulthood. I kind of had an early adulthood. So uh, um, and so like I got to stay up and see things in the early 80s, but um, I would say I would see things in I would say I would see things in that really made an impression on me, like in the 90s. So like the 90s was really my era, but I mean I also grew up being able to watch SNL when the Eddie Murphy stuff was on, and probably shouldn't have been allowed to because I was very young. But I just due to my circumstances, at the time, I was allowed to kind of stay up late, or what had the ability to stay up late. So, but I really think that SNL, like it more says more about where you were in life. Like again, if you were 12, 13, 14, when whatever was on SNL at that time was like the big deal for you. And the big deal for me was 80s and then 90s, of course. But by 90s, I was, a grown person, but I still remember watching SNL. But I remember watching it through the Eddie Murphy stuff, not watching it so much during that, the Michael Anthony Hall age, but also picking it back up when in the late 80s, when Dana Carvey was on and stuff like that. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. The Tracy Ullman show was kind of somewhat in the vein of the Carol Burnett show. Yeah, good insight on that. It was kind of somewhat in the vein of the Carol Burnett show. And this is why something like Living Color might have an edge over it, because you just get a bigger cast. And with bigger cast is going to come more talent, where you're always trying to think of something for that one character. I loved Living Color music parodies, Vanilla Ice, Jim Carrey, MC Hammer, by Tony Davidson, etc. Yeah, they were very funny. Vanilla Ice, yeah, Jim Carrey, comic genius. I was gonna say, and believe me, I like the Wayans brothers. They're hilarious. I love the Wayans brothers, especially Damon Wayans. I remember listening to his early stand-up comedy, but I really think the true, or I don't want to say it in expense to the rest of the cast, because that's certainly not how I mean it. But Jim Carrey was like the star of the show, in my opinion. I mean, he just did over the top stuff, but also in that same vein, like his over the top stuff made the show kind of not as good as, say, a Mad TV, because it was a super, super explosive, comical character of Vanilla Ice, where I think Mad TV's parodies were a little bit closer to the reality with some jokes slipped in there. But that's just my opinion about the whole thing. All right. Many people believe that the Prince of Bel-Air went downhill when the character of Vivian Banks, and Vivian was recast between season 3 and 4 for obvious reasons. Yeah, she passed away. She did pass away. I loved Will Smith in his early rap. That was just amazing stuff. And then when he got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that was hilarious as well. But I didn't track with the Prince of Bel-Air through its later seasons. I probably only went up to about season 3 or whatever. But I thought, parents just don't understand. The Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff. I thought that was some great music coming out in the late 80s at the time, like 88 or something like that. Watched it before that. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, John Belushi copying Saturday Night Fever. Hilarious. Certainly was hilarious. I like Kanan Ivory, was a great writer. Yeah, he was. And see, Sean writes, LOL, Cindy, are you on the phone too? Both our typing is not too good tonight. Yeah, I get it. Okay. I get it. All right, folks. Well, I think we're going to close it off here at a half an hour. I appreciate everybody who decided to show up and to come on and just to say hi and everything. If anything else comes up, I'm not dead set on taking off right now, but I totally understand. All right. Well, thank you very much, folks. Love you all. And one of the things that I'm going to do very soon is 900 numbers. I want to talk about 900 numbers because we grew up in an era of calling Santa Claus on the phone and calling everybody on the, calling party chat lines and all those naughty ones that, well, I didn't call them, but maybe you did. All right, folks, take care. We will talk to you again real soon.